Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. I was just watching, re-listening to and rewatching Elon Musk's interview, the first one on Joe Rogan. I seen the second one too. That shit's crazy. Yo, that shit'll fuck you up. But anyways, you're not here for that. You're here to talk about Golf. And we're about to have some Golf t-shirts pretty damn soon, yo. How's everybody's energy, yo? You got some big energy right now? What we doing? How's everybody doing today? I'm going to wait for everybody to hop up in here. If you're watching the replay, what's going on? Sal Vetri here, and it's a tour championship. Somebody's going to win $15 million Rooskies. Can I have $1? They're going to buy a bunch of people some beer. They're going to have a lot of fun. And whoever wins this thing probably doesn't have to win next year at all. Because, I mean, just look at Rory McIlroy, right? Oh, no digs thrown, right? He wins this thing last year, gets all his monies. And then he says, I'm just going to finish top 10 a bunch. And then towards the end of the year, coast it out as I got a kid on the way, right? It must be the life. Golf is a dream sport if you were very good at it. Very hard mentally, but oh man, the money that you'd be making to hit some golf balls a couple times a week, not bad. What's going on, everybody? What's good? What's going on? Yo, what's good, Sal? Fellas. We're doing the double whammy today. Like, all right, I got the video up on the NFL this morning. You know, right? We're going 7 days a week for these past couple weeks. I mean, that's a fact. Then we did the live stream earlier for the NBA, and that shit's about to start up in 45 minutes. Got some lineups in there, barring any crazy news while I'm on the stream. Then I'm going to lose all my money. I'll be watching it, don't worry. But now we're going to do the golf. Oof. And the only reason right now that your boy is doing this is I'm going to have to go find this in my mentions real quick. The only reason we're even doing this video today, damn, I be tweeting a lot these days. Holy shit, Sal, you got to chill right here. Bam. I'll do a stream tomorrow only because you said golf. So Matt Goes, is it? Goes? He says no golf video. If he uses an O right here in this word, if he uses an O outside of SEO for YouTube purposes and stuff like that, right? If he uses an O, there's no video right now. There's no stream. All right? So just keep that in mind when you're talking to your friends about the sport of golf. All righty. We're here. We're chilling. We got some stuff. I got the projections up, the Closing Thoughts podcast. All that stuff is up on Patreon right now. We are a week away from the NFL, so big business, big energy is going to be shifted towards the NFL season. As of Monday, I mean, it's always, we got videos out every single day for season long, but I'm talking about like week to week analysis, DFS, hopefully some season long stuff in there as well. That's starting on Monday. So this weekend is going to be the final weekend of really breaking down golf on the YouTubers. Hopefully, maybe we can get up some videos, definitely for the majors. But what's up, everybody? Says golf. LOL, says Nick. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Yeah. So sorry. Austin says, nah, you guys are all good. Don't even watch golf. Just here for you. Appreciate that, man. Got a 55-1 bet to Bryson to lead after the first round. So first round leader. So I assume that bet is including the strokes, right? You're including the strokes that are going to be set out at the start of this thing, where Bryson is going to be starting 4 under. So he's going to be starting 6 back of the lead. Let's talk some golf, says Josh. Thought you forgot about golf this week. Happy to see some people care about golf fantasy. All right, I'm going to stop saying that to annoy some people. But yeah, I mean, look, this is the thing. It's a very wonky contest. It is not a contest that DraftKings contests right now are terrible. They're terrible. They're so bad. They should have done the captain format. I don't even like that, but they should have done it the showdown format for this just to have more unique lineups. They have a very bad payout structure for their big tournaments this week. Even like the single entry high stakes stuff, it's all really bad payout structures, especially when you're trying to get different. You can't get different this week, right? Play Dustin Johnson. He's not going to be owned. Okay, they priced him to a point where John Rahm was in the 13,000, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe John Rahm, when he was teeing off here with the highest price point last year at the Tour Championship, first year of them doing the strokes, I believe he was the most expensive player. I could be wrong there, but I believe he was. And yeah, it was easier to get to him because he was $13,000 and he was highly owned. Dustin Johnson's price is very prohibitive right now. You pretty much have to jump down into the 5K range or the 6K range. And based on how those guys are set up right now at even par, 1 under, maybe 2 under, Sebastian Munoz is 3 under. To start off at least, it does not look good. It does not look good at all. I mean, you had one guy at the even par finish top 10 last year. You would need a couple of those things to happen for you now. Low 9s to 8s seems like the hardest to nail down. Yeah, so the best options on the slate are all in this 10K plus range. They are. You're not going to have enough ownership on guys like Webb. You're not going to have enough ownership on guys like Morikawa. Rahm will be picking up ownership. Like, these guys are not going to be unowned, right? It's a 30-person field, and outside of, like, these guys down here, we'll get to them. Like, these guys are going to pick up some ownership. Some of them are going wildly over-owned, but, like, most of these guys don't pick up ownership, so it pretty much cradles to all these guys. But that's how it is every single week in golf. The 8K plus range is the range that picks up the 10 to 25% ownership, right? Not a lot of single-digit owned guys in that range. So yeah, like I'm looking at Rob, I'm looking at Webb, I'm looking at Morikawa, and that's where I really want to build lines. I'm not playing 150 lineups this week. I don't even know how you can. I don't even know why you would want to torture yourself with a 30-person field and a no-cut event with 150 lineups. No, so I'm going to be doing single entries. I might not even do 3 maxes this week. I'm probably just going to do single entries. Maybe I'll do 3 maxes, mid-stakes, high stakes, every stakes, right, at that point. I'll probably max out like the smaller stuff, dollar entry stuff that's like 20 max maybe. But it's just a rough tournament, right? That's why there was no video to start the week. Like I can go through, I can tell you about the course, I can tell you about the fit, I can talk to you about approach play, right? The irons that are going to be needed here, and that's where guys like Morikawa, that's where guys like Webb step up and really start to stand out a little bit more for me, especially at the price points that they're at. So I'm going to be taking questions right now. I know that it's kind of an odd time, people commuting home from work on the East Coast, people middle of their day on the West Coast. Golf is not as important, or not as searched as NBA is, because the NBA games start in a couple hours. So it's just, it's more of a necessity thing, right? Popcorn era that we're in. So I'm going to answer any questions that you guys have. This is going to be more Q&A based like all the NBA videos, rather than just me going through and talking about the strokes gained. But I can, if you want to ask me how's X player looking, obviously Dustin Johnson is looking great in really all areas. John Rahm, these are two probably the best players in the world. They are the two best right now if you're just talking about how they're trending. Rory, if you want to just talk about the factors that are going into his weekend. His wife is due this weekend. This is the weekend on the calendar. We have not been told a specific date, but she is due this weekend. So that's always risky, because he's already said that he's going to, I guess he said that he had a kid, right? So I don't know if he's the kid. He had the kid, right? I was reading quotes earlier. I don't know if he's going to, I assume he's good to go, right? So I guess that narrative is done. I literally was reading 20 minutes ago. This is funny that it just clicks in my head like while I'm live. That, oh yeah, actually, you know what? He has the kid. I was reading from Sobel. Sobel said something about Rory talking about like the second his kid was born, you have like this unconditional love, blah, 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 blah. So I assume that he's good to go fully. So that makes Rory go from a maybe to a yes for me, because now he's got baby swag. That's not the reason, but because there's now less risk on him. I assume somebody on the replay is going to comment something about Rory's kid, him having it. I believe that. Yeah, so Rory on the new parenthood. So there you go. Yeah, see, he says, to go from not having met this person to having unconditional love for them from 1 minute to the next is just, there's nothing like it in the world. It's probably the best part of being a human, and I'm glad that I got to experience it. There you go. Perfect. So it is what it is. That was 8 hours ago, or 9 hours ago, we posted it about the kid. I don't think he's done any updates on him not playing or playing. All right, I see some of the questions coming in. I will get to them in just a second. I just want to make sure if he's posted anything about playing or not playing this weekend. I mean, he had the kid. He was there for it. I assume he's going to play. Best sub 6K guys you were willing to take shots on this week. Yeah, I'm going to have to turn my fan on in this room because these lights are so hot. It's like 98 degrees outside, and I think I forgot to turn the AC on. So 1 second. But best sub 6K guys this week for me. I mean, I'm not playing any Billy Horschel. The fact that Billy Horschel is like the highest owned guy right now is just absolutely ridiculous. I think Mackenzie Hughes looks okay. The leverage on Mackenzie Hughes is not good. What does that mean? It means that he's going to be higher owned than he probably should be, which means you get negative leverage on him relative to what he's going to do more times than not. So more times than not, playing Mackenzie Hughes is not going to pay off for you. It does not mean he's a bad play for the specific slate, right? Like this one time, can he go out there and get it for you? Yeah, but more times than not, if you play this 1,000 times at that ownership levels, he lets you down, right? But Mackenzie Hughes does stand out from a projection standpoint. Mackenzie Hughes is my highest projected player in the 5K range, so he's going to stand out quite a bit outside of Billy Horschel, who there's no way I'm playing at the ownership levels that he's coming in at. So Sebastian Munoz, Mackenzie Hughes, Lanto, and Kevin Na are just very meh options. That's about it. So there's some options down there. I don't really want to be getting 3 or really 2 of those guys. Reed or Finau? Yeah, so I'm going to be going to Reed just because of ownership more times than not. I have right now from Reed and Finau, I have Finau projected for 2 more fantasy points. If you're telling me you have a chalky lineup, if you're playing all the other guys that are chalky today, Billy Horschel's or whoever else, Mackenzie Hughes, right? All these guys, then I would probably go to Reed. Finau projected for more points. Reed projected for less ownership. Yo, Sal, been waiting on the golf. Just cop the fantasy guide as well. Keep it up, homie. Nice, Nicholas. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions on that. If you're watching on this live stream, if you use the promo code MakeSalPoor, all capitals, capital M, capital S, capital P for each of the new letters, all one word, MakeSalPoor, you get $15 for the draft guide NFL. It's a week away. You might be having a draft this weekend. $15 half off. On the site, Fantasy Sports Focus built that bad boy. Rankings, I'm going to have to update a couple things because Mohamed Sanu just got officially cut, so we're going to take off Mohamed Sanu. I saw Damian Harris got a little bit banged up. Also, Morikawa or Bryson. I'm going to lean Morikawa right now. I like both a good amount. So right now I have Bryson projected for like 2 more fantasy points, right? That's a projection we got to add some human intuition to that whenever we can. You don't want to do it a lot because then what's the point of the projection? I think Morikawa gives you better leverage than Bryson just because of ownership. So I lean, right? So like right now I have Morikawa has to be a yes. It's a yes. I lean right now Morikawa All these guys are very close. All these guys are fine. I think my favorite players are Rahm and Webb on the entire slate, but all these guys in this 10K plus range that have a yes on them are pretty close. I lean to the guys who are going to start with, in Rahm's case, like 4 strokes higher than Bryson, things like that, right? The price point's going to be there for it and reflective. I think the price point is not reflective on guys like Webb Simpson starting 6 under at just $1,100. I think Webb Simpson arguably should be closer to the $12,000 tag that a guy like Justin Thomas is. Is Hovland worth it at 6,600 starting at even? No, I don't have any interest in Hovland this week. Sets up for the course nice if you're talking about just the approach play, but I don't have any interest in him. And Hovland's going to be one of the guys that is more owned than guys around him. Like Neiman and Hovland are going to be the highest owned guys. There's only 4 guys in the 6K range, but they'll pick up more ownership there. There's something really wrong with Answer's iron play right now. It's not good. It's very bad right now, which is the issue. So it's been like that for like the past month after being hot fire and hitting every green in regulation and hitting every fairway. So it's concerning for Answer, but I don't want to be owning the chalky guys in Hovland and Neiman. I just don't want to be owning chalky guys. Like, unless you're playing 150 lineups, you're obviously owning all these players in some weird combination. But if you're playing like 1 to 3 lineups, which I'm sure most people watching this are playing like 1 to 10 lineups, yeah, why play the guys that are extremely chalky on a 30-person field where most of them are projecting out for the same points? Like, my highest projected players, yeah, they're projecting out for like upper 80s in points, median projection-wise. But once you get down to like the 8 and 7K range, pretty much everybody's projecting out from like 62 to like 70 fantasy points to 72, right? Guys towards the upper range, like Rory, he projects out for like 75, right? So there's not that big of a difference. So there shouldn't be this guy's 35% owned and this guy's 10% owned difference for 2 points. That shouldn't be the case. Any outright bets you were on this weekend? No, I didn't do any I did not do any outright bets for this event. I'm just not drawn to it. I think that's an issue. Like, I love golf and I watch all these events, and the fact that I'm not drawn to this type of event is probably just me, right? It's probably just something that doesn't appeal to me. But like, this is supposed to be the FedEx Cup, the Tour's like big thing, right? The Players is obviously another big thing for them, but like, this is supposed to be their big event. I think it has to be a match play. I think it has to be something else because it's just not appealing to me. To basically have like the guys that have a chance to win this thing being like 10 guys out of 30. Sal, how do you rank Kisner, Hovland, and Answer? Kisner would be last. I would put Hovland above Answer, like projection-wise, and probably even factoring in ownership. Answer, there's something wrong right now. I heard Answer has a nasty cut on his hand and was using a special glove that was affecting his ball striking. Yeah, Tony, I don't know if you're the one who told me that. That was a couple weeks ago. Don't know the current situation. Yeah, I don't know if you're the one who told me that, but I was told that in my DMs as well the day before it happened, and it actually led to me getting Answer out of my higher stakes lineup where he missed the cut. So that was the PGA Championship, I believe. Kisner seems like the guy in the 6K range. Yeah, I don't. I mean, maybe. I don't have any interest. I mean, Kisner looks very much so like a lot worse than Hatton. Like, I think Hatton's the best play in that range. He's not 6K, but he's 7K flat. By far, I think Hatton's the best play in that range. Hatton's my favorite play, pretty much below like the 9K range, maybe even below the 10K range. I like Kisner. I just think Hovland has way more upside personally. Yeah, Hovland has like uncapped upside that we don't really know about. It's kind of mysterious, right? He hasn't been put in a lot of situations where he has to have pressure on him, especially with $15 million in the line, as young of a kid as he is. That comes into it. Like, that comes into it more in this than any other sport with golf because it's so mental. That's why like projections for golf, whether it's DFS, whether it's betting odds, it becomes a lot more difficult to, and that's why people have more success, honestly, because it's even more difficult on the books to set proper numbers because it's unlike anything else. There's no defense. There's no defender. Your defender is your mental state, right? Like Jordan Spieth is going to be good. Like, he was good on Thursdays and Fridays for a lot of events this year. And then he gets to the weekend and he falls apart. That's the mental game. Yeah, piecing together 4 rounds of it could be part of it if you're just not good. But there's a big difference between like guys that have been able to close out on their Fridays or Sundays this year, right? With leads going in, Bryson coming from a couple shots back, Dustin Johnson coming from a couple shots back on Brendan Todd. Like, there's a huge difference from those types of things. Smash the like button. Yeah, smash the like button for sure. I'm going to fade this tournament. I don't think it's a bad idea to fade this tournament. I really don't. Just an update on things to come. Yeah, next week starting on Monday is going to be NFL content. PGA content will be every day on Patreon, or PGA content will continue on Patreon, as well as the NBA content. It's going to be like showdown slates at that point. And then the YouTube channel and the podcast feed is going to primarily revolve around the NFL because that shit dominates and the ratings of everything, and it's also what I want to be covering. Also, this is going to be sponsored by SuperDraft. Okay, so SuperDraft, we have to check this contest because earlier I checked it and it was like it's 15% full and we're less than a day away. So let me check the golf contest again. Then I got to reserve my entries. So Super Draft's golf contest, if you're not familiar with Super Draft, it's a multiplier format. There is no salary cap. You just get a multiplier. So, for instance, this week, some of the multipliers on Super Draft, if you go into it, right now their contest is, it's only like 40% full. Let me see this. 197 divided by 470. So their contest right now is only 42%, not even 42% full. And it starts in way less than a day at this point, especially when you factor in people's sleeping hours. Like there's only like 8 more active hours to get into this, if that. So it's going to overlay. It'll probably fill at like 70% full, maybe. But yeah, so you got guys like Dustin Johnson as a 1x multiplier. It means he just gets 1 times his points. You go down a little bit more, though, and this is fun for basketball, too, because it's more projectable. But if you go down a little bit more, you can get guys like Sunjay Im at 1.3x multipliers. There's going to be stronger options the more that you go down on most slates. Like Mac Hughes is a 1.5x multiplier. He'll look pretty decent this week. But guys like Patrick Reed at a 1.2x, guys like Rory Bryson 1.15x. So pretty much it's just a multiplier. It's based on projections. I do have projections on Patreon for this. But yes, if you put in up to $1,000, you get a 50% deposit bonus. It's a drip, so it kind of cancels out the rake, which there's technically no rake because the contests aren't filling. So it's just kind of a bonus into your account. 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Rooskies, promo code SAL, S-A-L. The sponsors of this must-own Galfas video. How do you feel about Rory? Are you worried about the fatigue/travel over the last couple of days? No, I really can't factor that in. I think that it's something that you can note in like mentally, but yeah, I mean, the fatigue of like having a kid, caring for it, probably being up for a while. Yeah, I mean, that's something that a lot of these other people probably aren't dealing with. But we also don't know if like these other people are dealing with their significant other being really pissed off at them and that messing with their mental state, right? Something, I don't know. I just don't, I don't know how to count for it. So I guess you just have to make a personal decision on that. I am currently going to play him. What is confusing to me is the model I use has Scheffler as the 4th highest rated golfer. It makes sense. Like Scottie Schaffler in no-cut events, similar to like early year Xander, or really just like the past, not this year, but like a year or two ago. Xander is just no-cut events, having the opportunity to go really low, which is something that Xander, I mean, used to do. He could still do it. Last time he did it really like in a major way was probably the Masters, making the cut, I believe, at, I forget what the event was this past year, maybe the Memorial. But Scottie Schaffler is that type of guy. He'll go and have the best round of the day. He'll shoot like a record-setting number, like he did, I think, 2 weeks back. He'll go and he'll go out and he'll shoot like 10 under, right? And then he'll go out and he'll have the worst round of the day the next day. He's a really good birdie or better player. He fits the course pretty nicely. Where he's starting is not the worst opportunity either for Scottie Schaffler, starting right now at, I believe, 2 under. It's better than a lot of the guys that are going to be starting about a third of the field. He's pretty much starting at the midway point at 2 under compared to all the other guys starting at even and 1 under, right? And the rest of the guys at 2 under. So I don't love Scottie, but he's in a player pool for me. I'll scroll down a little bit so people can start to see because, yeah, once you get out of these guys up top, which obviously you can't play all of them, you can on Super Draft, though. That's what makes it a lot more fun. Like, I actually enjoy playing on Super Draft because I can play guys that I think actually I have upside. But for at least this event. But like you go down here and I just don't really like guys, right? Like look at this. This doesn't seem that appealing. Also, if you weren't here for the NBA video earlier, the stream on NBA, what do you think about the new overlay? I got a new overlay on this stuff, right? Got a new logo up top. It's an S. It's a lightning bolt, but it's an S. And it's the Big Energy brand. I think I'm going to start bringing that up, and it's going to be a thing. Sal, Rory's going to take it this week. Thank you. Andrew Smith donates $1.99. $2 Rooskies. Appreciate that, buddy. Thank you so much. I apologize for calling you buddy. I feel that I hate when people call me buddy. So thank you, Andrew, my good man, my good sir. Hope you're having a great day, man. The salary usage is so different on FanDuel. Compile on a lot better golfers. Not sure if that makes it easier or harder to win. Yeah, again, I haven't looked at FanDuel in probably like a year and a half, so I have no idea. When you do NFL lineups, do you stick with the main slate of games or do you just like the late games and the primetime games? You're talking about DFS? The main slate. I mean, I have fun playing all the slates, but the main slate's the big one, of course. Super Draft is a devil. Nothing's harder than not picking every player that you want. You mean like just like the guys that you like? And you got like I mean, if you have projections, it's not the devil. I literally, like every day, I just filter by projections. I try and account for ownership for NBA. And I just go from there, and I've won like 79% of my NBA contests. I love Webb coming in fresh with the week off. What do you think? Yeah, I like Webb a lot. I think that Webb probably got word last week that course was going to suck ass. It was just going to suck big time. And Webb came around and was like, you know what? I'm going to just hold this one out. Took the week off. I like Webb this week. Webb is probably up there with, it's Webb and Rahman's probably my favorite plays this week. Hey, Sal, great job. Thanks, Billy. Thanks, Billy. So this column right here, for anybody that's new, the H column is just my interest. It's a yes, no, and the X means a maybe. It's guys that I have interest in that I expect to play, having a player pool of some sort. At least my player pool is a single entry and 3 max because that's all I'm really going to be playing this week. Thoughts on Xander and Burger? Xander and Burger. Yeah, so Xander and Burger are interesting. They are very similar plays to me, and Xander's going to be coming in way higher owned because he always is. He's always like 20+% owned or 19+% owned. Let me see. Yeah, so right now, factoring in ownership, I have Burger as a better play. I have Xander projected for like 2 more fantasy points, but factoring in ownership, I have Burger as a better play. You think it's okay to fade Jokic tonight and stack the first game for the NBA slate? Yeah, I mean, I think anything on a 2-game slate is fine. Jokic is my best play in the night. He's my number 1 play point per dollar wise, but anything is good on a 2-game slate. I feel like ownership on Webb will be way too high. No, I actually don't think it will be. Everybody's going to have ownership on this slate, and as of right now, it seems like Webb's actually going to be very good leverage. Same thing for John Rahm. The ownership could be high on them. If their projection is damn good for their price point, the ownership, it has to be high enough, right? Like if Webb is 30% owned, for me right now, that wouldn't be high for his actual production on what I have him projected for. Ownership is high relative to obviously other players that have similar projections and or that player's production that you have him projected for. So both of those things in Webb's case, I have him looking a lot better than. I'm just going to pull this up to just try and see. Why do you have an N for Harris English? No interest. Harris English's ceiling is not that good at all, and he's starting at 4 under. No interest in Harris English. Picking up like average ownership. Nothing crazy. Xander and Burger. Xander, Burger, Patrick Reed, and Tony Finau all grade out as much better plays for me, and there's just way too many options. Like Harris English right now, factoring in the players around him and like his leverage, he looks like one of the worst plays on the slate for me. I guess that's harsh to say one of the worst plays, but at the same time, it's kind of true. Harris English, it's like, All right, one of the worst plays is probably harsh. It's below average. I think Billy Horschel is the worst play in the slate if he's really going to be coming in with the amount of ownership that he has. Who's your favorite 8K player? Favorite 8K player is probably going to be Xander Schaffler, $8,900. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. I think that's it. Like, there's only 30 golfers. There's not much to break down here, right? It's a wonky tournament. Like, I literally, as I showed earlier, there was going to be zero golf content outside of Patreon this week, which you can sign up if you want. Projections, all that stuff is up, mainly because of that kid, this motherfucker. Literally, I saw this and I was like, I'm only gonna do a stream because of that. That's literally it. This guy right here. Any Cam Smith? 0 Cam Smith for me. I don't really have any interest there. The news cycle stuff is crazy though, right? Like with everything that's happening in the NFL right now, it makes it so much more fun. What is this? What? No way. Evan Silva deleted this tweet and made my tweet look bad? Are you kidding me? No way. Either Evan Silva blocked me or he deleted this tweet. There's no way Evan Silva blocked me. I'm an innocent man. My man Evan Silva really deleting tweets out here? Man, it made me look like I had a real good tweet. He said something. It was a report that Evan Silva put out that was before, obviously, the Fournette news came out. And it was just about how like much they were loving Ronald Jones, literally like 2 or 3 hours before. So then I put up this meme, and it says you can't see it because it literally is too big, but I'll pull it out here. Today in Tampa Bay. Bam. My man Evan Silva just made my meme. I was wondering why that shit didn't get more likes. I was like, fuck you mean no likes on that? DJ is too expensive, even though starting with the lead and been on fire lately. Yeah, DJ is so difficult to try and pin down this week, man. Obviously, like he looks like a great play when it comes to leverage. Nobody wants to own him. He's starting in first place by 2 strokes, and he's been hot damn fire, right? Like nobody's owning DJ. Dustin Johnson is going to be one of the lowest owned players on the week. Let that sink in, right? He's going to be in the bottom tier. It'll probably be like 12 to 15% owned. You want to know why? Because you just can't build a lineup around it. If you play DJ, you pretty much have to force feed yourself this entire range right here. Hatton, Kisner, Hovland, Neiman, and Answer all starting at like 2 back or even. That sounds awful. Or if you don't want to do that, you got to play like 2 guys from down here, which sounds really awful when they're starting at even, 10 strokes back. And then you got to hope that some of these guys do well. And it's almost counterintuitive to think like, okay, if Dustin Johnson goes out and smashes this week in your lineup and he's finishing like 22 over, like obviously these guys are having a much harder time getting into the top 10 at that point when the gap is becoming harder just from one player. So it's tough. Yo, Sal, you got to watch the Testicle testaments later. Joey Diaz is the best comedian of all time. Yeah, I don't really watch much of Joey Diaz, but I've been listening a lot. Like, I've always liked Joe Rogan, but I've been listening a lot the past, I would say, 2 weeks of Joe Rogan's podcasts. They just went on Spotify in the first of the month, so I'm listening even more now. I'm re-listening to the Elon Musk one. I'm about halfway through the first one. I listened to the second one for the first time, the one that he was on a couple months ago. But yeah, Joey Diaz is always on that podcast. I've heard he always talks about him. Never really watched any of his stuff. I know that he's normally just really foul. So, I mean, if it's funny, it's funny. Low ownership on DJ is insane, but I really can't build around him. Yeah, Andrew, that's exactly it, right? Like, the low ownership on Dustin Johnson is not great. Like, I'll pull up DraftKings over here on my other screen, and I'll try and, like, the exact salary, I think, was like, what, like $6,900 you have left the second per player, the second you put DJ into your lineup? Like, how do you want to do that? I commend DraftKings, though, for having, like, these huge fucking contests, right? $1.555 million contest with $500,000 to first. I mean, and for the people who say, oh, it's going to be chopped up every single way. Yeah, odds are it's going to be chopped up, but it's not always a guarantee. Like, so many of the showdowns were not chopped up in the NFL. The Super Bowl showdown 2 years ago was not chopped up. And it almost wasn't chopped up last year, coming down to like the last couple of plays. If you put Dustin Johnson and you have $6,960 left, right? Let's even say you put the guys that I actually like in the 5K range, Sebastian Munoz and Mac Hughes into your lineup. You have $7,900 left. Let's say you put Hatton in, right? We're about to build a lineup on the screen so that when you use this one. Like, this is, anybody who plays Dustin Johnson is probably using this similar lineup. Hatton, Hughes, Munoz, and then you have $8,300 per player. This is a ass lineup, right? You can't build anything decent with this. You're forced to play like Neiman or Hovland, who are both going to be chalky to an extent. Not chalky, but higher owned in that range of guys that are like $8,000 and below. You're almost forced to just play like Patrick Reed, and then, man, like you can't play Tony Finau because you have no money left on the table. That's a death lineup. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Like, and then there's the opportunity to say, oh, why don't we just play 3 guys in this down low range, right? So let's say you add Lanto in, right? Lanto, Hughes, and Munoz. Now you can do whatever you want, which is actually kind of appealing, but I don't really trust 3 guys in the 5K range, right? Now you can get to Webb Simpson and Dustin Johnson and hope that they finish first and second, and those guys in the bottom can just finish like top 15. It's not out of question when there's only 30 golfers in the field, but it becomes much harder when these strokes are added, when these guys are starting like 8 strokes back of some players. How much salary are you leaving on the table? In my single entry lineups, there's probably a 0% chance that I'm going to. I mean, it depends on the tournament, right? If there's only like 200 people in the field, you could leave more. If you're trying to play this $500,000 first contest, which, bless your heart, if you were trying to play that with one lineup, you should probably leave like $1,700 plus on the table, honestly. Which then becomes hard to do because there's only 30 golfers, and when you have five golfers in your lineup, you're automatically choosing a much worse option, right? Like let me try and like put an okay lineup in right now. Let's try and stack some studs, Rahm and Webb, and see what happens. Bam. So I'm trying to stack studs, just trying to throw it together, this fucking lineup real quick. Something random. So $8,200 left I have for the last player. So if you play Finau there, right, if I add him in here, I have $0 left on the table. I'm probably not doing that outside of like cash lineups, outside of like, I'm not playing cash, or like 100 mans, right? And even then I don't feel like that great with it. So you're going off of now Tony Finau, and if you want to put like $1,000 left on the table, you got to start playing guys like Kisner in his place, Hovland. It's not the worst options, but it doesn't feel good. But yeah, if you're trying to play the $500,000 first contest and you don't want to split it, which should be your goal, I mean, I'm leaving easily $1,000 plus, probably $1,500 plus. If you really wanted to, $3,000 on the table, as long as you think you have an optimal lineup. And be sure to check the strokes, right? Like, there's a big difference between somebody starting 4 under and even. A really big difference. Do you think anyone from the bottom 5 can finish top 5? It'll be very difficult. They will have to ball out, right? These bottom 5 meaning like these even guys at even, right? The 5 guys at even. They're going to have to ball out, and some guys up top are going to have to struggle. Because last year we had somebody, I think, finish like, what, T8 or T9 that was at the even range. So I think it's possible. I think it's unlikely, of course, but I think it's possible. I think it's much more likely that they finish, one of those guys finishes T12 or better or T10 or better. Alrighty, let me know your final questions because I'm about to finish this bad boy up. Let people watch it on the replay. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe. We got to 25,000 subscribers yesterday, so I really do appreciate that. It's a ton of fun. We just hit 1,000 uploads like a week ago, which is crazy to think that. It doesn't really feel like that. Uploads plus live streams, same thing. Who's your favorite on Superdraft right now? Yeah, so Superdraft actually didn't have their salaries in. So I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to actually add my equation right here. Or I'm going to add their salaries because I think they just released their salaries either last night or early this morning. But let me do this real quickly, and I'll tell you who my favorite on Superdraft is. I just have to import their multipliers. They don't have salaries, which is like the whole thing. But you get the point. They're multipliers. But let me just add this in right now. Bam, VLOOKUP on my projections. And bam. All right. My favorite play on Super Draft is going to be John Rahm. 1.1x multiplier. After that, Mackenzie Hughes looks fucking amazing on Super Draft. Mackenzie Hughes, who is like an okay play on DraftKings, but at $5,200 on Super Draft, looks very, very good. 93 fantasy point projection. Very, very good. Well, it should be something like around 90. I'm gonna add that right now to Patreon. The upload with Super Draft on it. I have to adjust Mac Hughes though, because Mac Hughes, you have to factor in that. Okay. All right, there we go. So still John Rahm is probably going to be my favorite play, but it's going to make some of the guys at the top look a little bit better. Like Dustin Johnson will look a little bit better as a 1x multiplier. Yeah, John Rahm will be my favorite play. Hideki will be up there as well. Justin Thomas will be up there as well. Harris English, Justin Webb Simpson. Yeah, all these guys. Cool. So let me add this to Super Draft. All right, yeah. So Mac Hughes is not going to look as good as he was going to. I just had to adjust for his multiplier was coming in wrong. So it's going to be John Rahm and Hideki probably looking the best. Ownership projection on Justin Thomas. I mean, I think Thomas, at least, let me see what I have him for. In the beta. 20%. That seems low. I would say like 20 to 22% probably. Congrats on the 25K. Thanks for the content. Appreciate it. Oh, nice. Almost thought Sal wasn't going to do golf anymore. Yeah, no, I'm probably not. Yeah, so Salty Old Man is the name in the chat. Football starts next week, so the golf content on YouTube is going to diminish. Hopefully during the Masters week and all that stuff, I'll have content up. But it's just me. Like, if I would love to hire somebody else, but I also don't want to. Like to be able to continue to supply content, because then it's not me. It's not my style, right? Which I'm fine doing that, but that's the reason why like people want me to do the content, because it's me. And at least I think so. But yeah, it's there's no way. With the football, every single day there's going to be a football upload. So, I mean, I can get through to some golf tournaments. Of course, I'm going to try and get the Masters in and some of the majors. But we'll see. Like next week's event, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing anything YouTube-wise. I'll have the projections, I'll have the tools up on Patreon. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing the golf content on YouTube, which I love golf a lot. It's just I don't want to burn myself out. I did it last year, and I burnt myself out by like halfway through the NFL season. I was doing golf. I was doing NBA when that started in October during the regular normal times when it actually starts in October. And then the NFL. So, like, all three of those sports last year burnt me the hell out. Like, I was fucking sad and anxious, and I just was, like, tired. Like, I had, like, double vision sometimes doing Awesemo shows last year. I would, like, have my lights on. I would just have, like, double vision. I was like, I might fucking pass out right now. Okay, thanks, buddy. Forgot the NFL was next week. What a crazy sport year. Yeah, honestly, right? A lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are forgetting it. Like, I track YouTube search trends, and last year it's, like, historical highs for NFL search. It, like, always is every year. This year, it's nowhere near that. People are just forgetting that the NFL season is coming up. Makes sense. Everybody's like internal calendars and clocks are all over the place. All right, gang. I did longer than I actually thought, which is always the case. 32 minutes here. So thank you for watching on the replay. Please do hit the like button and subscribe whether you're watching live or not. You can check out the projections, rankings, all that stuff if you want more tools, more analysis, more information to have a better chance at winning. The more informed you are, you can do that. Link down below in this full sheet of golf stats, which if I pull it out a little bit, you can see more of it. There you go. This full sheet of golf stats, if you're interested, all that stuff is on Patreon. Closing Thoughts Podcast. NFL stuff will start next week. Basketball projections are already up. That starts in 14 minutes. So I appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you so much. Check out Super Draft. My top plays on Super Draft are going to be Hideki. Well, it's going to be John Rahm and Hideki are be my favorite plays on Super Draft. So be sure to check that out. Thank you so much for tuning in. 50% deposit match up to $1,000 on Super Draft. Promo code SAL. Let's know that you came from me. You all rock. Peace out, gang, and enjoy the rest of your days. Peace. Thank you for tuning in, gang. Please do hit that subscribe button before you go and check out some of the NFL content in the playlist. Over 120 videos if you have your draft coming up. You check those videos out in the top left corner. Appreciate you tuning in and have a great